Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Friday TGIF edition of Today in Sports Betting. As always, I am joined by the effervescent Scott Reichel. Scott, we're ready to take a look at a little NBA here tonight.
Yep. And some baseball, but that's on the other show.
This is going to be different for us, Scott, because usually we come on and there's some terrible matchup that involves the Celtics and some other team I don't want to watch. And we spend the first 5 minutes bitching about the matchup. But that's not going to be the case tonight, Scott. We're kicking off with a darn fine game there. Possible preview of the NBA Finals. I'm just going to say
Possible.
that. Anytime somebody meets with a plus 500 record, I'm going to say that.
Of course. I mean, you kind of have to. It's something that you always hear what random television crews talk about.
That's right.
You might see this matchup later on this year. No, probably not. But whatever
of course,
helps.
I'm talking about Oklahoma City and Detroit.
Of course. They're going to be seeing each other in the draft lottery.
The TV game is the Clippers at the Philadelphia 76ers, Scott. That's a pretty good game, 76ers.
You know who I'm rooting for in this one?
I'm going to guess you're rooting for the 76ers since – wait a minute. Get ready to drink, kids. What do you got, Scott?
I have a Suns division ticket.
There you go. Drink.
I can't believe the Pistons really couldn't help me out there. They couldn't do me that solid. Damn shame. Up 7 with 1:40 to go. What a joke.
Couldn't do it. Do it. He's still salty right there, folks.
All
the water is gone and left just salt behind. So, Scott, Sixers, 2.5, 2, depending on whether you want to go to DraftKings or FanDuel, the only two that have a lineup right now on this particular game. No total. Who you liking here?
Do we know if Kawhi's playing or not? Like, I'm assuming he is because the spread's only 2.5. But are we sure he's going to play?
He's questionable.
I'm sure he is. There's some things never change depending on what – doesn't matter what year it is. But don't you feel kind of obligated to take the Sixers just gambling on the injury news of Kawhi? I'm assuming Kawhi is going to play based on how the line opened up.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to take the Clippers plus 2.5 if you don't even know if their best player is playing?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's just kind of from a technical aspect. It's when we have to do the show.
Correct. So based on what the line is now,
yep.
The only way I can look at it's Philly because assuming Kawhi does not play, this line should probably jump up to, what do you think, 5.5?
Yeah, I think 5 is right in the range. Yeah.
So I'll go with Philly on the prayer that Kawhi does not play. If Kawhi does play, you try to force me to make picks in this one, but truth is I don't know what to think of either team. Because the Clippers are really, really good apparently.
Yep.
And Philadelphia has played well since Embiid came back. They really haven't played anybody. They beat Oklahoma City with no Tobias Harris. Oklahoma City's Oklahoma City. We've talked about that ad nauseum. They beat the Mavericks, who both of us don't like.
Right.
They beat the Nets, who were benching pretty much everybody. They were up 24, blew a 24-point lead. We're up 4 with like a minute to go and won by – what'd they win by? 6?
6, yep.
Am I impressed by that performance because they almost blew a 20-point lead to the Nets?
Ooh, I'm going to go with no.
So that's what I'm saying. I think Philly's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I do acknowledge that. But am I really supposed to be impressed that they beat the Nets?
Well, perhaps you'd be more impressed by a 2-point victory over Detroit.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's what the Clippers did their last time.
That was with no Paul George and no Kawhi Leonard, but yes.
I understand, but Detroit is,
sneakily. They're sneakily no, they're just bad. So we're just joking. But based on the fact that Kawhi and Paul George didn't play last game, Paul George is healthy. They just held him out because why not? It was a back-to-back.
Who did they hold out when they played Detroit before, Scott? Because they played them a week ago.
I don't remember I know one of them didn't play. I got to remember if I want to say that Paul George didn't play the first time.
I think they played both of them because they were a 12.5-point favorite.
That doesn't sound right, but let me check that for a second.
Yeah, get right on that, would you? Because they win that one by 7. I don't know. I'm just, you're talking about who Philly has played.
For the record, Kawhi Leonard did not play in that game against Detroit.
I'm not exactly looking at murderer's row there that this Clippers team has run through.
Oh, no. The truth is that everything I just said about Philly, you can multiply tenfold about the Clippers. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But
God, when it comes to this series, you can throw out the records, my friend.
Truth is, I think you can look at this matchup and say to yourself, first of all, the most important part of the NBA when it comes to handicapping on the overnights is injuries.
Yep.
I don't know who's playing for the Clippers, and I know that Embiid, after going for 39 and 13, should probably be in the lineup.
Yep.
Tobias should probably be in the lineup.
Yep.
Simmons should probably be in the lineup.
Yep.
The only question mark is who? Dwight Howard?
Dwight Howard is questionable, sir.
Yeah, so he's the only one who you're really not sure about, and he's a backup big man when the Clippers, you don't know if their best two players are going to play. Now, Paul George should, because I'm pretty sure the second game against Detroit was a back-to-back. So they just decided, you know what, we're not going to play you. Kawhi's missed the last 3 games. So it's not like he's suddenly taking games off. He's missed 3 games for a foot injury. I don't know how serious that is or not. It's
right.
probably a history of missing games as well. But I got to take Philly. It's Philly or pass for me right now, because if you want to gamble on injury news like I did in the Bucks game a couple of nights ago, and you could beat a potentially big line move, then that's your best bet. So I'm going to go with Philly.
I think if Kawhi plays, this is probably a pass for me. If he doesn't play, I'll lay the points with Philly. I'll lay it up to 5.5. I don't want any part of Phoenix here.
Well, Phoenix isn't playing, so that makes sense.
I mean, I don't want any part of the Clippers. Sorry, you and your Phoenix Suns futures.
It wasn't just the futures, because we both had Phoenix last night, but
yeah,
still, we can talk about that on the radio show. But
I don't know that I want to talk about you and your stupid point guard.
Well, because you're salty, you missed the layup. Yeah, it happens. Whatever. But point that I'm trying to say here is, I think you'd agree, if you had to play this right now, I think it's probably worth gambling on the injury report for Philly, because if you end up getting in early and either Kawhi or Paul George don't play, you're going to beat a 3-point line move minimum. So I think it's worth the risk. You?
Yeah, I mean, although, it's coming down to it. This is a Clippers team. They're finding themselves 3 back. They can't take a lot of games off if they want the 1 seed. If they care about it, I don't know if they do or not. Maybe all they care about is that first round home series. So
depends if they think they can catch Phoenix.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're 2 back of Phoenix. So you're looking at the difference, and that's you're looking at the difference. The Clippers would square off against right now. They'd square off against Portland. So, and the Suns are going to square off against the.
Well, it's a huge difference because
Dallas San Antonio winner.
I was going to say the Suns are the 2 seed, so they would play a team in the play-in game, and I think you'd agree that that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. So,
yeah. So there's a lot to play for, but you also have to look at the upcoming matchups between the Suns and the Clippers. Clippers have won both meetings. They play again on April 28th, so there is one more meeting where the Clippers can make up a full game. So Clippers are still in it. But my question for you is, let's just say that Kawhi and Paul George play.
Yeah.
Where does this line close? Close to pick 'em? Philly -1?
Philly -1, yeah.
So I think that's worth it. I mean, you might lose 1.5 points of value if you take it now, but you also might gain 4 points of value if you take it now.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to shortchange this Clippers team because they have won 7 straight.
I'm gonna say that even if Paul George and Kawhi are playing, Philly's still phenomenal at home, so you're not completely screwed if they play.
Yeah, although they're not having the season they did last year, but they're still having just a regularly good season. They're 21-5 at home.
Right. So I think that's worth gambling on.
Yeah, 16-10 against the number. Clippers not great against the number on the road. Just 15-12 against the spread. So yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm again. It's going to be Philly or pass for me on this. No question about it. And I would probably lean under. But I don't know. It's hard to say without knowing what a total is.
It seems like I'm a little bit more committal to pulling the trigger on Philly now. But if you're talking about worst case scenario losing 1 point or so and best case scenario gaining about 3 or 4, it's probably worth taking now.
Yeah. If you're interested in taking Philly, I disagree with that. All right. So moving on, the late game, Scott. It's kind of a weird start time there for the game in Dallas as the Mavs entertain the Knicks, and this is now Mavs by 5 as this number has continued to climb. Dallas money's come in early and often here, Scott. This is 9:45 Eastern start time from Central Time Zone, so it is kind of a weird little glitch there, but that's what they do for TV. 210.5 is the total. Scott, this Knicks defense is the real deal. We talk about it just about every time we talk about the Knicks. Are they Are the Mavs going to be able to have something for him? Is Doncic going to be able to do his thing? Or
The only thing that I could think of for why money's coming on Dallas is because of the fact that the first meeting they played this season, Dallas won pretty handily.
Yep.
It was a 99-86.
Yep.
So blindly, you have to look at the under with this matchup at around 210 because neither team got to 100 in the first meeting. But if I had to play this from a side perspective, I'm taking the Knicks. Dallas has really just shown me nothing. Am I really supposed to be impressed that they beat Memphis on a buzzer beater but didn't cover?
Right.
I know that it was an impressive shot by Doncic. You also had to have a 90% free throw shooter miss 2 free throws. You could argue Dallas. You can't even argue it. It's just a fact. Dallas probably should have lost that game.
Sure.
So my question is, if Dallas loses that game to Memphis, are they still laying 5? Probably not. They're probably laying closer to 3.
Yep.
So I'm not going to overreact with Dallas winning on a buzzer beater. The Knicks have played well, and I think the Knicks, especially since that last meeting they had, Randall was kind of dealing with a little bit of a thigh injury. So I can't say they were fully 100% healthy, even though I'm pretty sure most of them played. But I think the Knicks come out here with a bit more energy and focus than they did in the last meeting. I think the Knicks should cover, but it's really difficult to not like the under in the spot.
Yeah, agreed. I'm fully invested in the under as well. Even though the Knicks have kind of tended over lately, you've seen 5 of their last 7 go over the total, but the Mavs of all things. Like I said, they've been playing a little better defense. The game against San Antonio would be the exception there, but I've got to go with the under in that one.
Especially after the first meeting got into the low or mid 180s. I can't assume there was going to be a 26 point.
It's a Dallas team that struggles with good defenses. You know, like I said, they put up 99 against the Knicks last time. They put up 93 against Houston. That's a bad look right there. They put up 95 against Philly. I think that's a pretty good comp to the New York defense. So.
It's a pace thing for me. The Knicks play really slow. The Mavericks play really slow. I got to assume there's going to be limited possessions in this game for both teams.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Give us the under there. What else on the card as you your ears perking up today?
Well, I'm going to have a play of the day on one of the game in the NBA, so I'm not going to talk about it. But surprisingly, it is not on the Thunder game. I am not taking the Pistons laying points against the Thunder because that spread looks really, really confusing to me. Because Detroit's laying 2, and Oklahoma City hasn't been in the same ballpark as anybody in about a month.
The weird thing is, Scott, there's some 2s and there's some 7s out there.
Are the 7s legit, or is that just according to a database?
Bovada's got it listed at 7.
I'm going to check Bovada right now and see if that's true.
DraftKings has it listed at 2. It's also listed at 7 on StatFox.
Okay. 7 would make more sense, just based on how Oklahoma City's played lately. But let me see if this game's listed. Yeah, it's not even listed on Bovada.
Well, my advice would be if you've got access to FanDuel or DraftKings, to get on there and load up.
I found out that some databases say that there's lines available and sometimes there aren't. So keep that in mind when you follow databases. But I don't see it on Bovada. I don't see a 7 anywhere. I see mostly 2s. But it really depends on the status of Jeremy Grant. And my question for you is, if they played about 2 weeks ago and Detroit won on the road by 24, does it really matter if Jeremy Grant's playing?
You wouldn't think so.
I don't know if it does. But that's the point. So if you want to play this, you know that I'm going to say Detroit or pass.
Yeah.
Because Oklahoma City should be getting double digits from every team that they play. So I'm not going to take it because I do think that line is a little bit sketchy, which is why I'm not fully interested in the play of the day. There's one game I like more. But I said they're not going to win another game. So if you're laying 2 with a team against the team that I said would go 0 for the rest of the season, I think you kind of got to play it. But I really do think that if you want to gamble on Jeremy Grant's injury, let's say he plays, you probably will beat a 5-point line.
Well, that would be an impressive performance if you say the team's not going to win another game and you take them +2 and they don't win and they cover.
That would be impressive.
I would definitely be impressed. By the way, Jeremy Grant is out.
Okay, so that's why it's going to 2. I didn't realize he was officially ruled out.
Smith is out as well. So
in a showdown between a pair of bottom feeders, Pistons will not play Jeremy Grant, Wayne Ellington, Mason Plumlee, and Corey Joseph. Fun times. So we got a bench squad against a bench squad.
Yep. So there's your answer right there.
you're looking for a player prop, probably take something on Josh Jackson or Sadiq Bey because I don't know who else is going to shoot on this team. But I'd look at Detroit anyway, but with everybody being out, basically, I can't touch this game. This is Oklahoma City's best shot to win a game, by the way.
This is it, buddy.
If they don't win, this is your Super Bowl right here because it's not going to get much easier than this for Oklahoma City. But
yeah, that's gonna be a pass for me too.
Do you feel like you have to look at the under since both teams are resting basically everybody? Or no, because this game might just turn into a complete crapshoot defensively?
I don't want any part of it.
I agree. If I was going to play, I'd take Detroit, but with everybody
As we found out, those guys that don't play, they play for a reason. Or they don't play for a reason. A lot of times because they can't score, but a lot of times because they can't play defense.
I think Golden State's still scoring from about a day and a half ago.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You have any games you want to talk about?
What's that?
You have any games you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Tempted to take the Blazers over Spurs. The Spurs have just they've done just enough to annoy us, so I kind of stayed away from that. No, there's the I would be interested in the Nets. I think that's just too many points.
Let's assume for the sake of that Kyrie and KD play.
Yeah, and I think that's the way that line is right now.
They played 2 weeks ago, and the Nets won by 30?
Yeah, I know. Past performance is not always indicative.
Can they cover? They don't have LaMarcus Aldridge anymore. Are they going to be able to cover?
As always, if you're looking for information on these games or any other games, don't forget to stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. They have full write-ups. Scott, did you know that?
I actually heard that almost every day for the last couple of months.
Full write-ups, every game in North America, every single day. Previews, predictions, not just size, but totals, first half bets, et cetera, whatever you want. It is there for you at winnersandwhiners.com. Of course, it's always free. Make sure you stop by and check that out. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, we wish you guys nothing but the best. Have a great day, everybody. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. And we'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting.